Everything is bigger and better in Texas. Well, this is bigger. This is better. The scoop, the skinny, the pros, the cons of one of our most coveted zip codes. We're taking a peek at life in Southlake, Texas. Are you ready? Southlake is one of our richest suburbs in Texas, and in this video, we're going to cover 6 pros and 6 cons. And I'm going to share with you, you want to stick with me, an interesting, history about the city of Southlake. Now, don't worry. This is not going to be an episode of the Discovery Channel or the History Channel. I'm not going to tell you everything there is to know about Southlake. I don't have the stamina, nor do you have the patience. But we're going to hit the highlights of what I'm hearing and what people think about the city of Southlake. We're going to talk about facts versus fiction, reality versus perception, about what life really is like in Southlake, Texas. And let's begin with number 1, the location. One of the great things about living in Southlake is its proximity to so many conveniences. And if you live anywhere in our Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, you understand how important the ease of your daily commute is. And Southlake is right there. Highway 114 goes through Southlake. So you will hop on Highway 114 and that will take you all the way to the city of Dallas. So whether you came here for business or pleasure, I cannot imagine you living anywhere in our DFW Metroplex and not find your way to Dallas at least once. And Dallas is 30 miles away from Southlake. There are 2 other important things I want to point out to you as far as location on this map, one of which is going to be critically important to many, many people, and that is the proximity to the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. And it's only 7 miles from home. So whether you're traveling on vacation or you've got another business trip, you're just a short drive away to one of the biggest airports in the entire country. Now, this one is a bonus. This is if you find yourself in an aggressive game of Trivia Pursuit. And the tie-breaking question is, how did Southlake, Texas get its name? Well, here is your answer. Southlake, Texas gets its name because it is south of Grapevine Lake. And speaking of lake, if lake life is part of your life, then you're right there and you can enjoy all the fun to be had on the beach of the lake and on the water. And number 2 is Southlake is one of the wealthiest cities, suburbs in our DFW Metroplex and in the entire state. And about a little more than 31,000 people call Southlake home. Now, some of the immediate things that you will enjoy living in the city of Southlake, well, there are a lot of things that you're going to enjoy, but one of which is Southlake Town Square. There are a number of shops, boutiques, fine dining, curated experiences for you to enjoy in Southlake and in Southlake Town Square. You will find cultural events in Southlake Town Square, and across from Southlake Town Square is more shopping. There's no shortage in shopping and restaurants in the Southlake area. And you may be thinking to yourself, Tracy, delighted to hear about the shopping and the curated dining, but that's just not my thing. The idea of shopping is like fingernails on a chalkboard. Well, relax. There are other options. As you can see, there's some culture that is celebrated in Southlake. Southlake Town Square is not just about shopping. This is where the people of Southlake, whether you are a family of one or a family of many, get together and have plenty of fun. Food trucks are out there. And one of the big things that I like to see is people gathering for the annual Stars and Stripes. And that's where during the 4th of July, people start out pretty early. So get ready with your lawn chairs. They go and gather to watch the fireworks. And there's so much fun entertainment there. You really get to see your neighbors and your friends and your fellow people who live in Southlake. And to top it off, the location of Southlake, remember from the map, you're just a short drive from Lake Grapevine. So I think Southlake has you covered with so many things that you can do in and around your home. Many people, many of our other communities and suburbs around Southlake will drive to Southlake for some of those experiences. There may be a celebrity sighting of 2, mostly professional athletes, either currently on the roster or who have retired. Let's talk about the quality of life. Okay, let's just be honest. There's a great number of affluence there. You have prestige there. You have some elitism there. It's there in Southlake, as you would find anywhere where there is an accumulation of such great wealth. I mean, come on. It would be the same as if you were in Beverly Hills. And I like to call Southlake the Beverly Hills of Texas. Let's talk about education, which comes in as number 3 on our pros list. Carroll Independent School District is where your students will attend if you live in Southlake, receives a number of accolades and praise for their academic performance. Well, for all of their performances, from academics to athletics and the fine arts in between. Now, for you scientific-minded people, let's talk about facts. The students who attend Carroll, for example, the ACT, they score 27.2, but the national average for ACT is 20.3. So you can see the difference there. And as far as the SAT score, they average 1,212, whereas national average is less than 1,000. So I think you get the picture. And as you can see, these students are very committed, and I'm sure they have a lot of parents who are encouraging this level of commitment to excellence, performance, and achievement. Number 4 would be, well, the crime rate. There's not a lot of crime in Southlake, but honestly, there's not a lot of crime in most of our suburbs, and that may be the case wherever you live. But if there is something more than, a break-in or more than some kind of petty nonsense juvenile behavior, because keep in mind, we are dealing with people. So people have the opportunity to misbehave regardless of where you live, and criminals have cars, so they can hop in them and drive to Southlake. But I would say overall, Southlake has a really low crime rate. Now you can do your own research on that, but I don't think you will have to stay up late nights on some kind of neighborhood watch or patrol to make sure you're safe. Number 5 would be our property taxes. And yes, Texas has property taxes. We don't have state income tax, but we do have property taxes. And when you compare the other areas in Texas with Southlake, Southlake has a lower property tax value than many of our other areas. So Southlake is looking at about 1.38, whereas the median in Texas is 1.67. Now, let's take a pause for our station identification. Hi, I'm Tracy Sorrell with the DFW Life, and I help people just like you sell and buy homes in and around our Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And I realize you can find out quite a bit online: bedrooms, baths, square feet, price. But what you may not be able to discover is how people really live their lives in our different communities, cities, and suburbs. Well, that's where I come in. I hop in the car and I drive around so you can have the bird's eye view, VIP access of how people really live their lives. And if you like to be in the know, then you're going to want to subscribe below, press the bell. You'll be notified anytime anything goes down around town. And don't forget, give us a thumbs up. Now back to the video. You may remember toward the beginning of the video, I mentioned that we will spend a little time talking about the history of Southlake. Well, that time is now. And I'm not a historian, so you can do your own separate research, but I wanted to share with you some really important, significant, impactful things about Southlake so you can get the full picture of how important and special this place is. And the history of Southlake begins with Bob Jones. Bob Jones was a slave born in 1850, and you know your American history. You can fill in all the blanks there. And he was freed during the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863. Now, it is said that Bob's father owned slaves. Now, that may not have been politically correct in all the different states at that time. However you want to call it, he did, he was. So he gave his son Bob 1,000 to 2,000 acres. That was Roanoke, Southlake, and part of Grapevine. So that gives you a little insight of who Bob Jones was and how he actually owned so much of this territory, so much of this area of Southlake and some of the surrounding cities. Now I want to share with you how impactful even today Bob Jones is. Well, let's start with his impact on education. In 2012, Carroll ISD's newest elementary school, Walnut Grove, was named for the school that Bob Jones and his family built for the Black children and biracial children who, well, weren't allowed to attend white schools. The original one-room Walnut Grove School is still on the property where you have the Bob Jones Nature Center and Preserve. Another really important thing to know about Bob Jones is that he was a fighter, and he fought for what he thought was right. He was very instrumental in the Southern Underground Railroad, where they would use a cave and a system to get the slaves through to Mexico. And even today, I mean, the cave still exists. It's not like it just packed up and moved, but much of it is underwater, but it's somewhere near Lake Grapevine in some undisclosed location. And another landmark, historical marker that you will see is his impact on religion and church. Even today, if you drive down Bob Jones Road and Whitechapel, you'll see a church, Whitechapel. But somewhere in there, Bob Jones and his family built Mount Carmel Baptist Church. Then it was later called Walnut Grove Baptist Church. So if you're in town, if you're in Southlake, then let me know and we can go and take a look at that historical landmark together. So that is your history lesson of Southlake and who was so impactful in making Southlake what it is today. And you can still see where his influence is alive and well. Another important thing about Southlake's culture is that, well, it's conservative, it's traditional, family values. And one of the things that you can enjoy as a family or alone by yourself is Bob Jones Nature Center and Preserve. This nature center is surrounded by more than 700 acres of cross timber habitat and more than 20 miles of hiking trail. You can expect to be greeted by singing birds, to find wildlife tracks all over the trails from deer, coyotes, bobcats, and more. And then you have Bicentennial Park. The other beautiful thing, another pro about Southlake that's part of their culture is art. And you will see plenty of art throughout the city. In the turnarounds, you're gonna find beautiful art. You will find murals to celebrate Southlake and art all over the city. And one of their biggest statement pieces is Fury. And Fury is the largest stainless steel dragon. I mean, I can't imagine there are a lot of stainless steel dragons, but still. Fury in Southlake is the largest stainless steel dragon, 28 feet tall, with the wingspan 40 feet wide. Well, as you can imagine, if you have a list of pros, well, there is a list of cons. And you'll notice that a couple of these things on both sides of the ledger. And we're going to start with the number one thing that people really like about Southlake and how that is number one on the list of things that people do not like about Southlake. And that is the topic of wealth. And it's not so much as wealth, the money itself. And what comes across with some people is an air of pretentiousness, arrogance, pride in the unhealthy way, and that is off-putting to quite a bit of people. And it creates a sense of them versus us, and that divider, and it creates a lot of envy. Now, whether people are envious because they don't have the money or not, it is what it is. I'm just sharing with you what some of the thoughts are from people who observe Southlake, and I'm sure that cannot be a surprise. And number two, the lack of ethnic, culture, and racial diversity. We're in DFW Metroplex, so please don't misunderstand. You have ethnic groups everywhere because you have people of wealth from every background. But I think what people are saying is that you can get more diversity in some of the surrounding areas versus in Southlake. Case in point, I know a couple of families who they can afford Southlake. They come from professional backgrounds. They're either from the Cowboys or the Rangers, and they've decided to move their families from Southlake to Keller, a neighboring city where there's a lot more diversity. So it's not a matter of money necessarily, it's a matter of choice. And if you know Southlake and you know Keller, then you know what I'm talking about. Third on the list, and this may be a surprise to you, is the schools. Remember, the students of Southlake attend Carroll Independent School District, and they are top-notch academics, athletics, and all in between. Well, some people feel as though their money gives them an unfair advantage when it comes to being able to provide their students with extra tutors or provide their students with extra private lessons. And when it comes to sports, because some of the students' parents are professional athletes and all the trappings that come along with that. I am just saying, do not load me down in the comments. I'm just sharing whether it's fact, and some of it is fact. If you know Southlake, you know some of this is true and some of it is perception. I will give you that. Let's move on to the next one. And that will be the homes. Okay, Southlake and nowhere else is creating new land. What you see is what you get. And at one time, Southlake had all custom homes, great lots on acres, but over the time, like any other place, developers come in and they've created neighborhoods and communities. You're not going to get a premier planned community in Southlake. If you want a community with multiple swimming pools, sports courts, and all of that, that's going to be a tough hill to climb in Southlake, especially if you want newer. The people of Southlake, if they want a swimming pool, they're going to add their custom pool. If they want a sports court, then put it in the backyard, have a blast. But if you're looking for something different, then you are looking for a place that is different. Oh, and one more thing. If you're looking for an apartment, keep looking. Southlake does not have apartments. Southlake has beautiful $1 million plus high dollar townhomes, condominiums that you can own. The other negative could be that there's not a whole lot to do in Southlake. I mean, how much shopping and dining are you going to do? If you're wanting to go to a professional sporting event, get in the car, head over to Dallas. You want to see some professional events, gas up the car, head over to Fort Worth. It's not Frisco. Frisco is bustling with so many things to do, but that's the charm of Southlake. It's a smaller community, a smaller city where people get to know each other. Now this one I'm just going to throw in there because I know people move around from all over. And if you don't know by now, people of Texas own cars and multiple ones. So this could be a negative to somebody, and that is the fact there is no public transportation. I'm going to be really honest with you. There's not a lot of public transportation in any of our suburbs. So just get used to it and get over it. Unless, of course, you consider Uber, Lyft, and your private car. There you go. Problem solved. And the last one, but I would not minimize the importance of this as far as what some people perceive as a negative, and that is the stress related to the pursuit of perfection. Hi, I'm Tracy Sorrell with the DFW Life, and I help people just like you sell and buy homes in and around our Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And I realize finding the home, the perfect place, design, floor plan, square feet, but that could be the easy part. But realizing where within our DFW Metroplex is the best place for you to live your life, that may not be so easy. So rather than me just showing you different beautiful homes, and Southlake has beautiful homes, I wanted to share with you just a little sneak peek, just an idea of what it would be like to live in Southlake. And remember, I am not the town mayor. I am not with the Tourism Bureau, so there are a lot of things I didn't include. I just want to hit some of the top points and highlights for you. We can always discuss the details in one-on-one when we have our connection. And if you are thinking about living your life in Southlake in this coveted zip code, comment below. Grab one of the one-on-one consultation links, reach out to me so that we can have a discussion and realize is Southlake, Texas, or one of our other cities, communities, or suburbs is the best place for you to create your new memories and call home.